All right, everyone, it's time for stupid leftist day because we've got a couple of heavy hitters here that we got to report on. Dar'Shun Kendrick, who's actually in the state legislature in the state of Florida, Democrat, of course, has a Biden, campaign thing on Twitter and stuff. And then also David Hogg, because Trump remarked upon coyotes taking people across the U.S. border, children, generally speaking. This is a reference to human trafficking. The term coyote is the lay term for human smugglers that operate on the U.S.-Mexico border. That's what they're referred to. You can say human smugglers, human traffickers, modern-day slavers, whatever you'd like to say. This is in the context of explaining why there are hundreds of kids in U.S. custody that really they're being detained indefinitely at the moment because they can't determine that they have a lawful relative to actually send them to. Here's the problem. What'll happen is that someone down in Mexico, a coyote, wants to make lots of money. They want to sell children into slavery in order to help fund their cartel adventures. They pose as a parent. They abduct some kids, or sometimes they'll even pay the parents because there's desperate poverty in the Yucatan. They say, hey, I can give you $500 for your kids. I'll take them to America. They'll have a good life. There are people who will fall for that, by the way. And also, they can always threaten them and just, at gunpoint, say, well, you'll take the money or I'll take your life and I'll take your kids anyway. So, fuck you. Nobody can do anything about it because they don't have guns down in Mexico. By and large, they're disarmed. That's why you have all sorts of violence. People can't fight back. This is why we need to uphold the Second Amendment and expand its meaning as much as possible, because ultimately the cops take 20 minutes to get there. Your gun takes, 20 milliseconds to fire a bullet into a person. But these people, looking at what Trump said, appeared to genuinely believe that Trump was referring not to human traffickers, but to coyotes as in the dog, as in the canine species. Well, how is it that a dog can carry kids across the border? What are you talking about? Trump is so dumb. What a self-own, and this is an elected official in Georgia who by the way, state legislature, you should look up her opponent and vote for them if you're down there, because she's clearly out to lunch even more than Biden. And David Hogg jumps aboard. Now, David Hogg is like in Harvard. How can a person with a straight face take either of these fucking individuals seriously in anything they said? By the way, the ratioing was hilarious, and the salt as well, and the memes, they were very funny. When you actually thought that the President of the United States is of the belief that children are being carried across the U.S. border by coyotes as in the animal, you would have to think that you have to have Trump derangement syndrome to believe he's out to lunch enough to think that, is one thing. Number two, no retraction was issued by either of these people thereafter. Actually, she doubled down, Dar'Shun Kendrick, actually. She's like, well, I'm not going to stay up all night responding to haters. As like YOLO, Yas Queen, Slay, and doing the finger-wagging thing, the heel tapping, I suppose, the bracelet jingling HR spokesperson thing that Klobuchar does so well, actually. And then subsequently got ratioed on every other tweet that she made in the last 24 hours, which was even funnier. What I would say is this is further evidence of the degradation of the Democratic Party into a bunch of mindless partisans that don't know what the fuck is going on. Literally, all of the people who mistook what Trump said for a reference to animals, who weren't just memeing and chuckling about it, are people with like BLM logos and hashtag resist on Twitter. It's really funny to see them. They think Trump is that dumb, but really they're exposing themselves as morons. You don't even know what human trafficking, what the term generally speaking is. You haven't heard that on the news 1,000 fucking times in the last decade? Hell, it's almost one of those overused terms that every year they try to abolish certain terms because they're like, well, it's just become cringy and old. Coyote should be one of them, apparently, at this point. Makes absolutely no sense that this person is an elected official and the other is in Harvard. This just points to what I've said about Ivy League, which is you're not paying for a quality education or to be in necessarily company that's smarter. You're paying to be among people who are notorious. It's the notoriety thing, like a family name or something. David Hogg, at the end of the day, he established himself well enough in terms of being well-known. There's a million people following him on Twitter, and that's nothing to shake a stick at, to get in Harvard. It doesn't mean he's intelligent. He's clearly not. It was funny because initially when he started on his tirades, you know, basically proclaiming himself to be some sort of public figure, people was like, you can't criticize him, he's a kid. Well, I think he's 20 now. So I can criticize David Hogg all I want. I don't think he's old enough to have a beer. I think, would his tweets get more or less incoherent once he becomes an alcoholic? I guess we'll wait and see. With Dar'Shun Kendrick, that ship sailed fucking long ago. And look at her Twitter in general. It is a laundry list of stupidity. It's basically like Trump derangement syndrome level red or something like that. It's like looking at a Krasenstein account or something. In fact, I'd argue that it's like Project Lincoln. We still pretend to be Republicans and not Russian assets linked to Russian energy firm Rosatom, which they are. It's interesting that they never want to admit that to their fans while they fight Orange Man, who supposedly is a Kremlin asset. It's like they did a legal response to, I guess, Ivanka Trump was asking to remove a billboard that's defamatory. And they responded, and I'm like, you know, is it on Kremlin letterhead? When you issue your legal response, will it be paper from Moscow? Probably will be. That's about all. Peace out.